It's the Christian Men's Illustrated Podcast, episode number 5. Can you believe we're that far in? Greg Walden and Jake Waters in the house, back at it. It is on video live, and it'll be on the YouTube. I apologize. We had some technical difficulties the last time, and so you didn't get to see our beautiful faces. You just had to hear our voices, which sometimes is good, whatever. So how are you guys doing? Ready
Good.
for it? We're August, moving into September, and I want it to get colder. Like, I want to move to Alaska right now. So I don't know where you guys are listening right now, but we're in Southwest Missouri, and it's brutally hot. I literally take as cold of a bath as I can at the end of the day, and it doesn't even bother me. I just want to stay in there.
Yeah.
And the cold water feels very amazing. So
yeah, it's pretty toasty, especially
ice
when you
plunging.
Get in that truck and the steering wheel's 100 million degrees. And
I mean, who would have thought Al Gore was right? Global warming, it's just a certain thing. It's taken over the world. So anyway, we won't dive into there. But
send your tax dollars.
Climate change. Well, I'm sure Greg Walden has tons of hot takes on that, but we'll bypass that for right now.
Hey, I believe that climate change is real, but the man-made is blarkey.
Okay. Well, we talk about stuff guys love, specifically Jesus, and we're talking about hot stories and things that are interesting. It could be worse. You could be stuck in space. Did you hear the story, guys? Okay. NASA Boeing Starliner crew to remain stuck in space until 2025 will return home on who's going to bail them out? Oh,
Elon.
SpaceX, yeah. Elon Musk coming to save the day. So you can find a ton of articles. I read this first out of USAtoday.com. NASA leaders announced Saturday that the two Boeing Starliner astronauts, Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Suni Williams, are officially looking at a lengthy 8-month stay aboard the International Space Station. Wilmore and Williams will have to wait it out until February after a flight readiness review determined that it's too risky for them to return to Earth on the Boeing spacecraft, NASA leaders announced Saturday. The decision means the Starliner will return empty-handed to Earth to free up a docking port for SpaceX Crew 9, which is scheduled to reach the space station on September 24th for a 6-month rotation mission. The Dragon capsule crew that Crew 9 will take to orbit is also now Williams and Wilmore's ride home. Wow. The decision to keep Butch and Suni aboard the International Space Station and bring them home it's blah, 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 blah. It's all about safety. But could you imagine, just going to space? And really, I think, I'm trying to find in the article, I think they were just supposed to be there. Yeah, they're only supposed to be there. Here it is. The decision brings to an end the mystery surrounding the fate of Williams and Wilmore, the veteran NASA astronauts who arrived June 6th at the orbital outpost for what was supposed to only to be a stay of a little more than a week.
Wow.
Hey, you're going to be here 8 months now. So
The spacecraft kind of...
Yeah, so Boeing Starliner, there's just some technical issues. They don't feel like they can safely bring humans back without potential death, crash, etc. So
there was a TV series in the 60s based on that called Lost in Space.
True. Yeah. I would love to go to space. I would love to go for like a week. I think I could handle a week, but I think I'd get creeped out and claustrophobic, and
I would too.
For like 8 months. Whew. I don't think I could do that. So I want to go to going to Mars would be cool, but I don't think I could take the 9-month squashed in a little capsule over there.
So wait a minute.
Like a submarine.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good example. Submarine.
So if they're stuck for 8 months, obviously the question is there enough food to go for 8 months? Or are they going to draw straws to see who gets to eat the other one?
I bet you that's loaded up with Jell-O and all kinds of extra good stuff. Yeah. The packs, I've seen this before, right? They have essentially like astronaut food.
Dehydrated.
In these little packs or whatever kind of thing. So, yeah. But that would stink, man. And I've read articles too of just, this is again God stuff. Like, we are so designed to live on planet Earth.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about, one of the things I found interesting is when they get back from even, the space station, is their body feels so heavy. Like they feel like 1,000,000 pounds when they're starting to sleep again in gravity and all these kind of.
And they have to like constantly work out there.
Yeah.
Like just to even maintain.
We're not designed for it, man.
Yeah. Affects your bone density. You actually lose your bone density. Up there too.
So shout out to them. That's got to stink, dude. I mean, one time I was flying back from Africa and I had to stay an extra day because my flight got canceled, and that was brutal. Mm-hmm. Imagine me like, you're stuck here for 8 months. I just found that interesting. So, and I found it even more interesting. Who's going to save the day? Good old Elon back at it because
is he going to drop off some satellites on the way?
But No, that's a separate entity.
Oh, okay.
Or a separate thing. They just launched those up or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, we're not stuck in space, guys. So anyway.
I don't even like get on a plane. I'm a ground chicken, man.
Yep.
I'm a ground chicken. I like
All right. Well, we were talking about just before we hit the pod, we're talking about some shows that we see on Netflix. I forgot to cancel my subscription for this month, so I'm going to have to hang on for another month. There are a couple shows that I want to watch. Netflix does all these documentaries, like you were saying, on the Steve McNair, and they have a lot of that. Sometimes I get into that. Sometimes it doesn't do much for me overall. But shout out, I'm not the biggest of Chick-fil-A guy. Greg Walden is. We haven't ate there at Chick-fil-A for a while, but you love the Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
You love the Chick-fil-A, Jake Waters?
I've never eaten there.
You never have?
No.
What?
No.
You're a Chick-fil-A.
We've got
I was going to say virgin. That's not perfect. No, but you haven't?
No, I
We
haven't.
should go there after we're done. You want to?
We'll go there at some point.
Some point? Do you want to? Do you have a date with your wife afterwards or what?
I got to
You
go
can't
home and sleep, and then
Okay.
we
All
can
right.
get up at 4.
You're becoming Greg Walden to me lately
I'm
here.
sorry.
Lots of
It's like
excuses.
I'm going to turn into a pumpkin.
All right. So anyway, Chick-fil-A is coming out with a streaming service.
What?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A is set to launch a streaming service. This out of churchleaders.com. Chick-fil-A is reportedly planning to enter the entertainment industry with the new streaming service set to launch later this year, known for its Christian roots and emphasis on customer service. Chick-fil-A is consistently ranked among the most beloved fast food restaurants. Somewhat paradoxically, the chain also continues to be controversial, because they just have these Christian values, particularly for its founder's traditional stance on marriage.
And not being open.
That's
on
so
Sunday.
radical. That marriage is between a man and a woman. However, the company has sought to cultivate a welcoming environment for all customers and employees, sometimes even resulting in criticism from conservatives. All right. Chick-fil-A continues to emphasize the importance of families in its corporate decisions. According to Deadline, the Atlanta-based Chick Purveyor is currently working with production companies and studios to create family-friendly shows and content for its streaming service. So, will you get this, Greg Walden? Are you getting the Chick-fil-A streaming service?
I won't pay for it, but if I get the free one where you have to watch Chick-fil-A ads every 30 minutes or every 5 minutes, so I'll have a Chick-fil-A ad or something like that.
Let's say going on, the main emphasis of the original content will reportedly be on unscripted shows with a budget of $400,000 per half hour. One such program is a game show from Glassman Media, The Wall, and Sugar 23, Netflix 13 Reasons Why, which has been given a 10-episode order according to Variety. Chick-fil-A is also looking to acquire licensed content. So anyway, I'm not seeing a price as what they will put on there, but everyone, just what we need, another streaming service.
Yes.
We need another one.
Well, see, they'll have
Not
to,
enough.
They'll have to complete with PureFlix. PureFlix is kind of like the Christian Netflix.
It's kind of what I was thinking.
So they'll be complete. They'll have to be comparable to PureFlix. But the problem is, I don't know if they have licensing with PureFlix or if they can show the same show. I don't know how it's going to work. But obviously, if it's family friendly and Christian entertainment, it'd be worth subscribing to. It's better than other stuff out there. But
Coming your way. I'm sure it's going to have, just like everything else, roughly $6.99 to $8.99. Probably a tiered version, commercials
now, if you get
for the low price.
now if you
no
get
commercials for the high
discounts at
price.
Chick-fil-A for having been a subscriber, that might be appealing.
Yeah.
Just tossing that out there.
Putting some stuff there today. The big thing with Netflix is they're now moving into live stuff. So we got to pitch this. I should have put up the article, but Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi, the hot dog eating champions.
Yep.
On September 2nd, they have a live, Netflix Live. Logan Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Okay.
It's going to be a live event on Netflix.
They're actually going to
So,
do it?
Yeah, they're going to do it.
Okay.
So and that's on Netflix. So they're beginning to inch their way into live stuff. So like WWE they're ending their contract with WWE Raw on Monday Night Raw is at the beginning of next year will now be on Netflix as well. So anyway, Netflix is starting to move now into the live content portion of things, which I also noticed. So is Prime Video. Like I'm not a Major League Baseball fan necessarily.
Oh, yeah,
But I was watching some MLB the other day on Prime. So I think that's the next evolution of many of these streaming services now. Well, NFL, YouTube, et cetera, all these kind of things. Live content on the streaming
Nice
devices.
thing about Prime is you can watch. There's a lot of the classic TV series that you can watch, like Little House Prairie, Highway to Heaven, all the other classics, the clean, the older ones.
You look like a Golden Girls kind of guy.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Well, and I don't know why that my brain went to sadly, which I did a short on it. I'm trying to add some more video shorts to the Christian Men's Illustrated YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. J-Lo, Ben Affleck getting divorced.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sad
Again?
news.
Again?
Yeah, J-Lo's divorced for the fourth time. Ben Affleck for the second time.
Are they trying to chase Elizabeth Taylor's record?
Yeah, I think she needs to think about getting married again for sure. 4 times. Anyway, I'm still on 1 time. 1 time. How about you, Jake? You're on 1.
One
and
time.
You're on 2.
1 time
there.
only.
Greg.
Deuce.
So, but anyway, that's
Deuce.
right. Just don't go 4 like J-Lo, okay? Yeah. Love your wives, guys. All right. Moving on. Let's do a couple things. We'll bounce over to you, Greg Walden, and then get into some scripture. College football season has officially arrived, and football season is around the corner. College football, of which I'm not an expert on. I think I can talk a little more in depth on the NFL, but college football just kicked off the other day. The big game was Florida State versus Georgia Tech. Florida State gets upset by a field goal. And this game was it in Ireland or Germany? It was out. It was out of the country.
Really?
So anyway, but right now as it sits, a lot of familiar faces in the AP top 25. Georgia number 1, 2, Ohio State 3, Oregon 4, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan, Florida State, which just got knocked off, so they're going to drop. Making the top 15, Missouri 12, Utah, LSU, Clemson, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Miami, Texas, A&M, Arizona, Kansas, USC, NC State, and Iowa. So a lot of familiar faces in the top 25. The ones that are missing from me that are a little close to the old heart here are number 1, my Deion Sanders prime. They're ranging between 40 and 50 on a lot of preseason standings that I saw. So that'll get Coach Prime hyped up a little bit. He's taking a little heat. He comes at the media, and he doesn't put up with their stuff, and they don't like that. So,
of course not.
Now they're trying to he's just a diva, blah, blah, blah. And he is a little bit, but anyway. So Colorado, Nebraska, not in there as well. So any names you guys noticed not in the top 25 there?
The Huskies?
Washington?
Yeah, were they in there?
They were not in there. So good call on that one. So I'm not sure what's going on team-wise there. Washington not in there, but now we're moving into this year's going to be the 12-team playoff system. So instead of the 14 playoff, college playoff, now they're moving to 12 this year. So that's going to add a little bit of excitement, but then as well, it's going to add more debate, the 12 teams that will get in. So more teams are going to get in, but then what's going to happen? Teams 13, 14, and 15 are going to cry like little babies. Like, we should have been in the 12-team playoff. And then it's going to move to 16 teams. And then they're going to cry. 17, 8, and then it's going to move to 24 teams. And then they're going to cry. And then it's going to be like NCAA March Madness where there's 68 teams in the tournament. And then it's convoluted. That's why I don't like college basketball that much anymore. But anyway.
Well, I'm rooting for my Missouri Tigers.
Okay. And shout out to Missouri they had a great season this year. Top 15. Yeah. They're in the SEC. That's the big boy ball. That is the league of all leagues right now. Past decade, really, in college football. So I don't have a hot take or a pick on that. I think a lot of the standard names are going to get in there. I think Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas. Texas is probably the one that hasn't been there for a little bit. And we'll see if they can inch their way into things and become more relevant on the national scene. So, yep, there you go. College football. And then one other note I was going to make on the football side of things. This is the one that I don't like this. So I found this article about 12 NFL players who love Jesus and football. And I start reading the list and oh, man. So here we go. Here's the list that they had, right? Number 1 was Pat Mahomes. We love Pat Mahomes. We're here in the Red Kingdom land. But have you ever watched his lips during a game?
I was watching some quarterback on Netflix, and it's F-bombs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So his language maybe needs to improve, I might suggest. And then after the Super Bowls, he's been highly intoxicated. So I don't know how great of a Christian example he is. But who am I to judge? Number 2, Dak Prescott. Made the list of Christians who love Jesus. Christian McCaffrey. Now, I think I've heard some interviews with him, and he seems pretty legit. We got Ryan Tannehill makes the list. He seems like a pretty clean-cut, good dude. Case Keenum makes the list. You guys, you can dive in on any comments of these guys if you have. DJ Metcalf is known as a Christian who loves Jesus. Trevor Lawrence out of Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. And I've heard some interviews with him where I don't see him doing or saying stupid stuff and seems to present Christ The guy who I think is legit, and I don't know these people, so that's why I can't be the judge. I don't know him personally. Kirk Cousins has a good image, a good rep, because he was on the Netflix quarterbacks, and he wasn't doing anything funky, he seemed to really present himself like a legit dude. Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders, he is a guy who's really stood up for Christ. Carson Wentz makes the list. Guess who's Carson Wentz is playing for?
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, no, Carson Wentz from the Eagles.
Is he still?
He's with the Kansas City Chiefs now.
Really?
During the preseason, it was. If he made the squad, he was now backup role. Nate Solder, and then they go on a couple other ones here.
I'm surprised C.J. Stroud wasn't up there on top.
CJ, I'm trying to get to. There's a couple more here. So Philip Rivers, I didn't know he's
Russell
still playing.
Wilson. I thought was proclaimed to be Christian as well.
Yeah, that one too. I don't know. I hate. Like I said, when they do these lists, it makes me really nervous because then some of these guys, like at least on game day, watching their mouth and then their behavior, and it's like I don't know.
Well, obviously Tim Tebow is probably the most famous one.
Yeah, and see, this is just my opinion. Like Tebow, he was a corny Christian, and I hate to say that. Like he was like too corny. Like I don't like that. I like this balance of like you don't have to be like. There's the old phrase, like be a Christian, and if necessary, use words. It says something like that. Have you heard that one before?
Actually, I've heard that, but I think
I don't adhere to it 100%. I agree with it as far as like, should we, our actions should like represent Christ, but we still have to use words. It's not
right because we're called to preach the gospel. We're called to preach the gospel that requires your mouth.
Exactly. So I don't totally adhere to that, but I'm like. But the Bible does say live a quiet life.
Right. Yeah, your life.
Live a quiet life, and then your life presents Christ. So sometimes I think guys can be a little too over the top, and it's almost like corny Christianity. I don't know. I don't know Tim either. So
I say preach the gospel, but your life should correlate what you're saying.
Yeah, preach the gospel if necessary. Use words. That was whoever invented that quote.
I've heard that one,
it was. So.
Yeah, there's controversy with that phrase, but I mean I think you should live it, preach it, and live it. So
yeah,
your fruits will show.
Yeah. Talk the talk,
walk
the walk.
Yeah.
Okay, bounce over to you, Greg Walden.
All right, I got a couple stories. I know, Pastor. How many instruments do you play?
Not necessarily a lot. Mainly guitar. I can play a little bit of the bass, some hand percussion. I can dabble on the piano and then sing.
So about maybe 5 instruments probably.
Yeah, in that pocket. And I'd like to think like I wrote and produced songs back in the day. I can kind of produce, if you will.
Well, everybody. If you're born after in the 80s, 90s, you got to include air guitar.
Yeah.
So 6 right there. But how many do you play instruments, Jake? Or
no,
we got air guitar. So
air guitar, yep. Air drums.
So I got 2, which is a trumpet and air guitar.
Okay.
But the world record for the person who could play the most instruments there's a California kid who could play 117 instruments.
Wow.
He started when he was a kid, and he just pick one up, all right, pick one up. Now he's up to 117 instruments. Of course, I'm not going to list.
Is he good at each of those?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oops, sorry.
I mean, could be. I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's why a lot of people learn piano, because if you learn the structure of piano, notes, scales, it's like, okay, like there's the classic Ozarkian instrument. What's that? The dulcimer. Okay. Cyndi Lauper played it back in the day, but the dulcimer, it's like a stick and like a guitar. Anyway, Google it, guys. The dulcimer. Okay. It's total Ozark instrument. But I was able to play strum through and kind of pick around on a few songs within, say, 20 to 30 minutes. But that's just because I'm like, okay, half step, whole step, kind of thing.
Yeah, I got started with a trumpet because I was in, 3rd or 4th grade. Because they had a big thing come to our school, and they had everybody in the cafeteria. And they had people from karate and all these different type of activities, and they were demonstrating it for all the kids. And then afterwards, a kid could take their little slip home and to their parents, say, I want to do karate or I want to do this. And I was going between karate and trumpet. And I'm like, but I ended up going to the trumpet. Because the trumpets was a biblical instrument. I was thinking biblical instrument. I was like, I want to play the trumpet.
Job.
Well, but anyway, I was a young kid. So I went and got, and Dad's like, this is going to cost $500 now. And Mom's had to talk to him for months. And he's like, okay, go for you. I better expect you to be practicing every day if I pay $500 for this trumpet.
Yeah.
So
I hate the trumpet so bad. I mean, it's a whole story for me, but I played it in high school, but I hate it.
the trumpets, at least in the high school I was in, the
It's
trumpets
gonna be in heaven though. I mean,
the trumpet and the percussion people were the cool kids. We were
Okay.
we were the cool kids. The worst instrument in our band to play for us on the social status was French horn. If you like no one liked you, they stuck you on the French horn.
well, I would not. I know this is not very Christian of me, but I mean, if you told me you played like the piccolo or the clarinet, I would not be friends with you.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I know you don't play that anymore, but just because you did play that, it's not realistic for friendship between us.
But yeah,
Right, Jake? I mean, the piccolo, like what?
You would want to stay away
yeah.
from the piccolo guy.
Yeah,
just
the
say
piccolo guy, the clarinet
just
guy.
say in band camp, because I was in the marching band.
French horn.
I was in I kind of played. I played up to 8th grade, and I kind of took a 2-year hiatus. I kind of lost interest in it. Then I got interested back in it, and I got back into the marching band before my junior year, and then we went to band camp. And the trumpet section was pretty much the section I was always getting in trouble for pulling pranks or doing crazy stuff, and we was always getting in trouble and had to run laps around the football field.
Okay.
It was always getting in trouble.
I mean, this is pre-Jesus, but I
it's
mean,
pre-Jesus.
I would have to French horn or something. There would just have to be loads of hot chicks over there playing French horn or something like that. If I head over that way, that's before Jesus. What I'm
before
saying, I'd be
Jesus.
like,
Right.
oh yeah, I love the French horn. How you doing?
But we didn't. But back then, we didn't do. I mean, obviously, we didn't do the discussing stuff. Like the worst thing we ever did was one kid that played the French horn. He brought his teddy bear to band camp with him. So I mean, I wasn't involved in it, but some of the guys from the trumpet section was. So they took this guy's teddy bear, blew it up with firecrackers, and hung it up on the flagpole with his underwear. And, and next morning, we had all run laps. We were all running laps. I wasn't even involved.
Jake, any band instruments did you play?
I played bass guitar for a while.
Okay.
Yep, and that was it.
But not like flute or
no, we
saxophone or
played like
anything?
a recorder. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
everyone had to play the recorder. Hot
Yeah.
Cross Buns. What's the other song?
Yep.
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah,
That.
exactly.
Oh, remember the kazoo?
Yeah. That was the entryway to band. Like, everyone's going to learn the recorder now. So,
Oh, yes, the good recorder.
all right. Anything else, Greg Walden?
Well, I thought I saw one story and it reminded me of you.
Thank you.
The master pizza. The
Yeah.
you're like the SpongeBob of pizzas, man. Like, you get the
True.
toy of the
That,
month.
yeah. And I recently, not long ago, I got, so like there's this whole thing called drive. Like I was the safe driver. You have to accumulate all these accident-free hours. And I got that too. I got that award. Like it's called the Certified Safe Driver Award. I have that on the resume as well. So
Of course.
Yep.
You couldn't top it.
right.
Yeah.
So
So,
it was like you
yeah.
could roll in the store and be like, point at the board and be like,
Yeah.
what's up? I'm
Here's
the
my-
only one in the store.
He's like, you're like all these like 25 pictures of all the like there's me. Oh, when am I gonna get there?
Yeah.
You'll get there one day. Don't worry. So, I don't know what your thought of pineapple on pizza. Do you like pineapple on pizza?
Yeah, I love pineapple on anything.
Are you?
I had a slice the other day. I don't like it, but I ate it. I had a sausage, pepperoni, and pineapple the other day. And that pineapple just doesn't do, I can eat it when I'm hungry, but I would never order it.
See, when we went to lunch day, I was actually contemplating putting pineapple on my pizza. I was like, I don't know if he likes it, so I didn't do it. But Sweden has taken it over the top. There's a Swedish pizza place that's putting bananas
No.
on the pizza.
Yeah. No, for me. But anyway, I mean, pizza is a beautiful thing, though. You can do whatever you want with it. Like one of my go-tos is pepperoni, black olives, and jalapenos. That's like not a crazy combination, but I love that one.
I might do black olives next time we do it. But this one, they put a curry, pineapple, and banana on the pizza.
That sounds.
Yeah, it's like
The pineapple or the banana lost me.
Right.
It'd be like a plantain or something.
It's one of those classic things too. Is like red sauce. Like occasionally I'll get a white sauce or a varying sauce. Like Pop John's. Speaking of Pop John's, they have a cheeseburger pizza. It's got like a cheeseburger. You know that what do you call it? Orangey sauce, cheeseburger, burger sauce as the base.
Yeah.
And it's good, but it like takes you away from this mental this experience of just the traditional red sauce. There was a pizza place in Utah that, not the one we know, but that did. I've never had this at any other place. They did. You could get a mild, medium, or mild mixed or spicy red sauce. I've never had a place since then.
Wow.
So just the base red sauce you could get in the spicy, which I like. You get like a mixed, or you could get a mild. I thought that was really cool. I've never heard of a place do that.
Now I tell you one that is good is like when I go to Fruta, and usually when I go to Fruta, it's during the Palisade peach season, and there's a hot tomato pizza place. You can get a Canadian bacon with some kind of onions or something like that, and peaches, Palisade peaches on the pizza, and it's actually pretty good.
It'd be good.
I'd try that for sure. All right, let's close it up with some spiritual talk here. I know that a lot of you that listen you don't come to church at Grace Point, and I'm just want to harp on it for one more time because Jake skipped church on Sunday. And did you listen to the live stream?
I did.
Okay, just kidding.
Yep.
I got to pick on you, man. Come on, you don't know Kelly Stevens, so it's always the spirit of Kelly Stevens rising up inside of me. So, I mean that Greg is still friends with me is just a miracle of my result of hazing him, verbally hazing him for many years now.
It's love.
Anyway. But I went through 2 Chronicles 12, and I think this is so good for dudes, specifically for all of us as Christians. But 2 Chronicles 12, I won't read the whole thing like I did on Sunday, but this is post Solomon. Were we talking about Chronicles of the day too, the kings and stuff like that?
We were talking about Manasseh.
Yeah.
And he was Hezekiah's son.
Yep. So this is Solomon. This is Rehoboam. So it says, when the king of Rehoboam was established and strong, he and all Israel with him abandoned the law of the Lord. And it came about in King Rehoboam's 5th year, because they had been unfaithful to the Lord, that Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem with 1,200 chariots and 60,000 horsemen. The people who came with him from Egypt were beyond counting. The Lubim, the Sukkim, and the Ethiopians. Shishak took the fortified cities of Judah and came as far as Jerusalem. Then Shemaiah the prophet came to Rehoboam and the leaders of Judah who had gathered at Jerusalem because of Shishak, and said to them, "Thus says the Lord, you have turned away from me, so I have abandoned you into the hands of Shishak." Then the leaders of Israel and the king humbled themselves and said, "The Lord is right. The Lord is righteous." And just a few thoughts I'll give to you guys, and you can give me your take as well. But it's so here's what God was speaking to me about. Is I spent a lot of my time prayer, effort in life, trying to make sure that life is good, right?
Right.
I spent a lot of my time trying to make sure, and even asking God that things will be good.
Yeah.
And the reality is here's what I said on Sunday. When life is too good, we don't need God.
Right.
When life gets too good, it's really a dangerous place to be.
It is.
Right? Because that's when you're not like, "Oh, God, help me, touch my wife, oh, my marriage, oh, my fun," all these things. Like when we're going through it and we're walking through it, we're like praying our guts out, right? We're seeking God. All of a sudden we want to go to church now. All of a sudden when the worship songs, we're worshiping, right? It's like all these little elements. When we're going through it, that's when we do those things really hard. But then when it's like everything's good, it's like, man, I'm tired today. Like read that one before. Just busy, struggling financially a little bit. I don't know if I can give that, so again, all these layers of our Christianity begin to go by the wayside because this just grabbed a hold of me. And I was reading this to my boys. It says, when Rehoboam was established and strong, that's when he abandoned God.
Yep.
When everything was good.
When all the pressure's off.
Yeah. Pressure's off. Like, cool. I got this.
Yep.
I got this. No worries. All right. So, it really struck me because, like I said, as a pastor, and we all have different jobs, and and I'm not just a pastor; I do other things too. But it's like, a lot of my time, I think mental space, like, okay, God, help the church to be really good, and all the finances to always be lined up perfectly, and help people to come to church, and I'm praying all these things, and I'm really praying with this mindset of like, help everything just be really good.
Yes.
And then it's like, but in one sense, you don't want it to be really good for me because then I wouldn't need you,
It's typical human nature. I mean, look at even taking it down to the second, like you get a job, like your first day on a job, you're like gung ho, you're doing it, you're like eager beaver, you know it. But after 5 years in job, you're like, oh gosh, we're going to come to work, and you don't have that same sense of, of drive that you had the first day because you're in it, you're doing it, you're in the system, it's doing a routine, you don't appreciate it like you used to. Like, man, when you've got that job offer, you're like excited. You could just do the most one is like really excited. Hey, I got the job. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But 5 years later, you see people complaining about it.
Yep.
It's like you weren't complaining 5 years ago when they gave you the job offer, were you?
Yeah,
No.
when you would have done anything to get that job, like, man, God, I'll do anything to get that.
Yep. And this, I'll just hit up 3 spots. I went a little more comprehensively on Sunday morning. But anyway, the second part is when he got strong and established, he abandoned the Lord. And then the scary part, verse 1 says, everyone else followed suit. Everyone else abandoned God too.
Yeah.
And this speaks to the leadership that we have as men, whether it be our wives, whether it be our children, whether it be our jobs. Like, people are going to follow us. So if you decide to be, you decide you're going to start waffling on your Christianity and you're just going to live the lukewarm lifestyle, at some point, someone's going to see you and be like, I can do that too.
Yep.
Like, if that's Christianity, if that's how Jake lives Christianity, I'll just live like that too.
True. You're a walking billboard everywhere you go.
Yep.
And you don't realize who you're influencing. Like, they say, yeah, I know he's a Christian. I know he goes to church. I went to Sunday school class or whatever a year ago, and I see him at Walmart. He's saying words he shouldn't say or whatever, and like, well, if that's a Christian, I mean, I guess it's saying bad words or whatever is not. I can do that. So yeah, you're a walking billboard. So obviously, as a representative of Christ, you gotta keep that in mind when you're out there walking about and doing your thing.
And then the third part, and there's just so much more in this that I was working through the other day. But when it says they have, then the enemies come, they get defeated, et cetera, and then God brings a prophet in. And he's like, well, here's what God says. God says, you abandon me, I'm going to abandon you. And I believe in that reality today, that biblical reality, that there's
Absolutely.
God has no right. I don't have any right to ask anything of God. If I decide I'm going to abandon him, I use a kind of a corny illustration, but I talked about, even my dog understands this. My dog understands that, like, when I come in the house, my dog fears me, not Rachel, but my one little dog immediately sprints to my bed and goes underneath where I can't grab, touch, because that dog knows that's a place of protection. Like, if I'm under that, he can't get the bad guy can't get me, i.e. me with my dog. No, I'm nice to my dog, and rub its belly, pet it. But anyway, feed it, all those good things. But I was like, that's the concept. Like I talked about in Psalms. The Psalm says, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it. They are safe. That means they're protected. They're in a covering. They're, surrounded by the Lord. And that's an option. I believe that's an option we have as followers of Christ. We can say, God, I'm going to obey you, serve you. But the moment I choose to abandon you, hey, all bets are off. Like, it's God says, like, if you want to live without me, you can live without me, but you don't get the benefits of living without me.
Right.
Well, there's one story in the New Testament where it was Paul was saying, there's about this person that was sinning. It says, hand that person over to Satan for the destruction of his flesh, but that his soul may be saved. So that person was actually being handed over so Satan can actually destroy his flesh. I mean, that was because of sin and unrepentance. He was in a sin that he wasn't repenting of, and he's like, hand him over to Satan for the destruction of his flesh, but his soul may be saved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can go. I'll do the one more, but the one other one that I brought up was, that the devil wants to take us out. That's the game plan. That's the goal. But he's looking for the right opportunity.
Yep.
Vulnerability, weakness, etc. And then so the one was the temptation of Jesus, where Jesus goes in the wilderness for 40 days. And I know for different versions say different things, but it says after he tempted him and failed, praise God, because Jesus is perfect. We're not.
Right.
He conquered sin, lived a perfect life. But at the end of that passage, if you read it specifically, it says the devil left him and then waited for the next opportunity.
Yep. Yeah.
And that was like, holy cow, So we're in a series of battles, where this isn't just like, hey, I conquered this one day. Like, that's awesome. Always know that the enemy's lurking, like looking for the next opportunity. Yeah. Oh, this isn't the one, the next one. So anyway.
Well, I think a lot of his opportunities is like when you experience a victory or a high moment, you like, yeah, I got victory. And that's the most time that's when a lot of Christians will drop their guard.
It's a calm before the storm.
So like, hey, I just won this victory. I got this. And then they get that Rehoboam, or I can't remember how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Rehoboam. Yep.
Rehoboam. And they're like, yeah, I got the victory, and they put Jesus back on the shelf. Hey, Jesus got me out of the rut. Hey, back on the shelf you go. And then devil's like, gotcha.
Yep. So if you guys ever get a text from me in the near future and I say like, what's up, Rehoboam, then you know I'm calling you out.
that.
How you doing? So it's like my one son when he disobeys. I'm like, Absalom, stop it. You know,
no.
Absalom turned on his dad, David. You know, so I joke with my boys sometimes. Listen, Absalom, you better listen to me.
Do they get it?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this is the end. Last comments, guys. Anything else you want to say?
Well, I mean, like I said, that also applies to nation too. But
Yeah, absolutely.
Psalms 9:17, the wicked are turned into hell, and all nations have forget God.
Man. Well, we appreciate it, guys. Like, share, subscribe. The YouTube, the Facebook Live, Spotify, Christian Men's Illustrated. It's a great podcast. Join the team.